Good morning. Today, you made a little longer journey to this place, right? So we are gathered in timeless meditation hall today. And while we cherish our main meditation hall, we also recognize the value of occasionally changing our environment. By doing so, can be helpful in refreshing our minds and hearts. So welcome to the Sunday service at the One Dharma Center. I am delighted to be with you and practice with you today. So let us do some stretchings before we sit in meditation for a while. So while you are sitting, just right there, arms stretched out. Good. Wiggle your fingers. And arms up high. Shake your hand. Shake your shoulders. And bring your arms down. Arms to your side. All the way up. And down. Now palms gathered. Down your lower abdomen, bring them up, palms facing up, palms facing towards you. Bring your hands down. 2 more times. Breathe in and breathe out. Now let's only use our nose when we breathe in and out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Very good. Now turn your head to your left side. Your left ear close to your left shoulder. Back to the center. Go to your right. Come back. Now breathe in to your left. Breathe out, come back. Breathe in to your right and breathe out, come back. Chin down. Wiggle your head gently side to side. And back to center and chin up, same way. Wiggle, wiggle, loosen any tension around your shoulders. And back to center. Now pick one direction and make a circle with your chin. Big circle. Loosen your jaw as you circle your head. When you get to the bottom, go to the opposite direction. One more circling to each direction. And back to center. Now stretch out your legs. Legs out. Hands on your knees. Massage on your kneecaps. Wiggle your ankles. Your ankle, this is your ankle. This is your toes. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle your toes. Very good. And put your hands on your knees and move your legs side to side. Very good. Now we are going to stand up and greet our circle Buddha. Stand in front of your mat. Now let's do breathing exercise one more time. Arms up. High. Now arms to your side. Breathe out. Remember, breathe in and out through your nose only. Breathe in, gently close your mouth. And breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Now palms meet together. Bring your palms down to your heart center. Relax your shoulders. Relax your heart and mind. Please join me offering 4 bows to Dharmakaya Buddha, Fourfold Grace, our Circle Buddha, Ilonsang Buddha, which represents our true mind, our true nature. We'll do this bowing practice in standing posture. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of heaven and earth, honoring the infinite source of marvelous existence. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of parents, ancestors, and everyone who has given me life and nurtured me. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of fellow beings, embracing the truth of interconnectedness. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of laws, which guides us to develop justice and freedom through Dharma and universal principles. Now please be seated. Adjust your sitting body on your mat. As needed, feel free to wiggle your body side to side, back and forth, finding the most comfortable body posture for your sitting practice. We'll have 25 minutes of sitting, followed by chanting meditation. Today, Catherine will guide us with the method of seated meditation.
The method of sitting meditation is simple and easy. Sit comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in, grab all your tension, and breathe it out. Open up your chest and heart. Stretch up tall and align your spine from your neck to your tailbone. Relax your shoulders and arms. Then allow your hands to rest on your knees. Bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, release all mental and physical tension. Invite your attention to abide in your chi energy field, which is called Danjan. This is located about 2 inches below your navel and is the power center for your breathing. Open your eyes and gaze downward over the end of your nose and to the floor. Keep your mouth closed and allow the tip of your tongue to rest gently against the roof of your mouth. When your mind is concentrated and calm, pure and clear saliva may gather in your mouth. You may swallow it. Relax your facial muscles and notice your gentle smile. If your face or body begins to itch, do not scratch. This is just a sign of the energy circulating in your body. Simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and do not interrupt others. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be discouraged or disturbed by them. Simply focus on your breathing without reacting to or playing with those thoughts. Recognize them as thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. And remember, keep bringing your awareness back to your Danjan, breathing center. If you continue practicing meditation for a long period of time, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation, in which the mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, with no distinction between self and others, time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, aware of our ever calm and alert spirit.
When it comes to meditation, there are many forms. Now please join us in Sutra Chanting Meditation, page 4 and 5. Page 4. 일원상va. Jieun is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech, the gateway, birth and death, transcending being and non-being, origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, lost all true nature of all Buddhas, enlightened master, unenlightened people, sentient beings, one manifest as both permanence, impermanence, fused as permanence. One unfolds into an infinite world that is ever abiding, spontaneous, just as it is fused as impermanent. One unfolds into infinite world through the cycle of formation, duration, decay and extinction of the universe, and the birth, age, illness and death of all beings, according to how we use our minds, bodies. In the four forms of birth we transform, 6 realms of existence, progressing, regressing with grace, arising from harm or harm from grace. Therefore, unawakened beings vow to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Ilwon-sang, Dharmakaya Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies, deeply knowing human affairs, universal principles thoroughly, using our minds and bodies skillfully, thus progressing rather than regressing, receiving grace rather than harm, until we attain the great empowerment of one with the nature of one. Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, when deeply practicing Prajnaparamita, 5 aggregates are empty, and thus became free from all suffering and distress. So Shariputra does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is sensations, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear
disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease in emptiness. Form no sensations, no perceptions, no impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no no mobile ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind, consciousness, no ignorance, no extinction, ignorance, no old death, no extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva relies on prajnapada. Mind has no hindrance, without any hindrance, no fears exist, free from delusion, one dwells unnerved. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on prajnaparamita and attain. Therefore know that prajnaparamita is the great mantra, is the great enlightening mantra. Which is able to eliminate all suffering. This is Chunafos. Proclaim the prajnaparamita mantra, which says gone. Samgate Bodhisattva.
Now move your shoulders. Move your arms side to side. Bring your arms up high. Wiggle your body. And release your hands down. Today we are going to listen to a Dharma talk from Reverend Jieun Gyomunim. The title is The Wholeness of Both Spirit and Body. So please join your palms together. Let us greet Reverend Jieun.
Good morning. Actually, the title is The Wholeness of Both the Spirit and Flesh. Yeah. So today I'd like to discuss the one of the four central principles of One Buddhism. This is One Buddhist Dharma book. As we open this book, we find the four core principles of One Buddhist teaching. So you see the circle in the very first page. It's L1 Sang. And the third page, you see the four principles of One Buddhism. They are four pairs. So let me read this. Everywhere a Buddha image, every act a Buddha offering. timeless Zen, placeless Zen. One suchness in action and rest, wholeness of both the spirit and flesh. Buddha Dharma is daily life. Daily life is Buddha Dharma. And today I like to talk about the third one, the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh. So let me read to you the chapter 16 of this Dharma book. The Dharma of the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh. The first paragraph goes like this. Since in the past, those living secular lives were not considered to be practitioners of the way, the evil custom of living idly without jobs prevailed among practitioners of the way, greatly harming individuals, families, and nations. So to understand this principle better, let's look at the historical context of early 1900s Korea. During that time, Korean Buddhism was mainly organized around monastic orders. Buddhist temples were located in the mountains, and Buddhist monks abandoned all other occupations and relied solely on donations and almsgiving. This lifestyle made it extremely challenging for lay people to engage deeply and regularly in the practice of the Buddha Dharma. Mr. Sote-san describes the situation as follows. Examining the practice of the past religions, they have emphasized only the practice in rest, saying that if we work, we can't practice. And if we practice, we can't work. Some have even left their parents, wives, and children behind and spent their whole lives deep in the mountains. Others only continue with their reading scriptures, unaware of the rain washing away the grain in the yard. How can this be called a well-rounded method of practice? So at that time, a dualistic notion existed about practice and work. And I still see it remains within us to some extent. Don't you think so? I once had the chance to meet Master Jieun. Some of you may have met him. He visited One Dharma Center several years ago. He is the previous former head Dharma master of One Buddhism. And I expressed my difficulty in maintaining an evening practice routine due to tiredness after work hours at the One Dharma Center. And his response was an eye-opener for him. Do you know what he said? The first word that he said was, let go of the notion that you can only practice through seated meditation. Whatever you are doing, do it with undivided focus. Until that day, I had believed that I understood the teachings of One Buddhism quite well. You know, I'm a minister of One Buddhism, and I was teaching. But his words startled me. I realized that even after all these years of practicing One Buddhism, I was still confined by the fixed notions. I unconsciously believed that if I couldn't have a specific time for meditation at night and in the morning, I wasn't practicing correctly. Mr. Jieun did not say that seated practice was unnecessary. In fact, seated meditation is the very foundation of all spiritual practice. However, he emphasized that spiritual practice should not be confined to specific times or postures or places. We can and must practice while engaging in our daily activities. For instance, maintaining an undivided mind, especially when working, and letting go of all those unnecessary thoughts, are vital practice. They cultivate the spirit and contribute to our spiritual growth, as well as the quality of our productivity. Thinking ahead and preparing things ahead in advance is one of the important 6 mindfulness practice in Won Buddhism. All these practices are best performed during our everyday work and activities. This is what we refer to as practice in time in action. Even if you practice meditation sincerely, yet overlook this aspect, the practice in action, your practice remains incomplete. Mr. Sotaesan, our founding teacher of Won Buddhism, emphasized that practitioners in the future should practice and work together in harmony. He believed that future religious practice must encompass both body and mind, seamlessly integrating them into one. This concept lies at the core of the principle of the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh. The idea of one suchness in action and rest further emphasizes it. They are like one pair. To realize these ideas, Mr. Sotaesan aimed to create a spiritual community where life and practice were interwoven. So in 1918, just 2 years after his enlightenment, he began the Levy Project, which I wouldn't even thought about. No. Through the Levy Project, he aimed to reclaim marshal land and turn them into farmland. This project was the very first Levy project in Korean history. To fund the Levy project, they first established a saving union. They stopped smoking and drinking, and also sold charcoal to raise funds. And with the money earned, Master Sotaesan and his disciples began the daunting task of constructing the levee at deserted, muddy beach at Yeongsan. In those days, more than 100 years ago, there was no modern machinery, such as bobcats or excavators. They carried mountains of field dirt on their shoulders or in the wheelbarrows. It seemed like an impossible task. Some village people thought it was a crazy idea and they ridiculed it. Despite the skepticism from the villagers, they persisted, and in 1919, they successfully reclaimed 22 acres of tidal land for farming. This not only provided a livelihood of the one Buddhist community, but also offered food for the village people. The Levy project perfectly exemplified the core principle, core spirit of Won Buddhism, the harmonious integration of spirit and flesh, truth and life. And 5 years after the Levy project, Master Sotaesan established his community in Iksan, Korea in 1924. It is now the headquarters of Won Buddhism in Korea. And the principle of the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh was deeply ingrained in the community in Iksan. So despite having the 22 acres of farmland, they were still financially very poor. They struggled to have enough food to eat. And to sustain the community, they started to making rice taffy and selling them in the village. And they also rented other people's fields to cultivate crops. And after dinner, they would come together to share their daily experiences and discussing their practice and engaging their minds about the activities of the day. Mr. Sote-san would deliver Dharma talks. Then in the early morning, they practice meditation together. Let me introduce one story that shows Mr. Sote-san's mindset. So Sote-san's wife, Yang Ha-un, underwent numerous hardships managing the household and raising kids. And she engaged in the daily labor along with the other followers. The members of the community considered collecting donations to ease her burden. Because she was the wife of the master who was devoting himself for the community. So it makes sense, right, to collect some money and give the money to her. However, hearing of this, Mr. Sote-san advised to refrain from collecting donations for his wife. Why? He emphasized that she should not impose a personal burden on the public. And he said, it would be a different story if she were unable to support herself. But because she's capable of supporting herself, she maintains an honorable and happy life. So as you see in this story, to cultivate a self-power in spiritual, physical, and material aspect in our lives is highly valued in Won Buddhism, because with the balance of the self-power in those areas, we can attain the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh in our life. And the essence of this principle continues to be practiced in modern times. So one such practice is journaling, where practitioners record various aspects of their daily lives, including the hours spent working, studying, and practicing, and whether they use their mind skillfully or not, and their income and expenditure of the day. This practice is included in our scripture. So you might wonder what the need is to keep a record of income and expenditure of the day, and why it is in the Buddhist scripture. So Sote-san explains it this way. The idea behind having practitioners keep a record of the handling of income and expenditures of the day is so that we may find a way to earn income if there is none, and work diligently to generate income. If there are lots of expenditures, we may find a way to curb them so as to prevent poverty and find happiness. And that even the affluent may avoid becoming indolent. So for me, to keep a record of my expense and to track of my time daily is part of my practice. Because I know how I handle the material aspect of my life is deeply related to how I handle my mind. So I think perhaps now you have some idea about the meaning of the wholeness of both spirit and flesh. You? So we practice meditation to become happier. But to ignore your everyday life because you want to become more spiritual and awakened, such an approach is misguided and would ultimately be harmful for ourselves and our society as well. The material or physical aspect of our life form the foundation of our spiritual journey. Likewise, our spiritual practice lays the groundwork for the material aspect of life, such as clothing, food, and shelter. We need those. So in a way, Won Buddhism can be seen as highly pragmatic, right? So its purpose is to improve our lives through practice. This perspective is very different from a view of the world where enlightenment and our everyday reality are seen as separate entities. I always feel fascinated by the principle that lays in Won Buddhism, the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh. So in the beginning, I read the first paragraph of chapter 16. Now let me continue to read the following paragraphs. From now on, however, as we construct a new world out of the old, the religion of this new world should be a living religion in which cultivating the way and life itself are non-dual. Therefore, by gaining clothing, food, and shelter through the truth of Ilwansang and the threefold study, and by gaining that truth through our clothing, food, and shelter and the threefold study, both our spirit and flesh will become one wholeness. To be of service in this way to individuals, families, societies, and nations is our aim. So at the One Dharma Center, there are 15 ministers living and working together, exemplifying the spirit of the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh. They take care of everything needed to maintain the center, from cleaning and cooking to office work and teaching the Dharma. So each 교무님, each minister, contributes to various aspects of the community. Venerable Chuksa님, sitting in front here, is our head Dharma master of One Buddhism USA. And he is also unofficially the director of our farming. And Reverend Yeri and Venerable Myungtawonim, sitting in a chair back there, are also unofficially the vice director of farming. Most of the weeding in our garlic farm was done by them during the hot summer days. And Reverend Jay, sitting there, Reverend Jay's main job is working at the office of the One Buddhism USA headquarters. But I see him more often in tractor, mowing our walking trails or fixing or installing something, like the sound panel in the Ilwansang. His next project is, I believe, is some network system here in the Timeless Zen for smooth streaming of our service. So I hope we all can embrace the idea that our spiritual practice should be integrated into every aspect of our lives. By doing so, we can experience the wholeness of our being, nurturing both our spirit and flesh. So starting tomorrow, the ministers will begin harvesting garlics in the morning for several days. Actually, Venerable Chuksa님, Myungtawonim, and Reverend Yeri, they already started a few days ago. But officially, it will begin tomorrow. So it will begin right after the morning meditation, like at 6:45 a.m., and continue after breakfast for some time until it gets too hot to work. You have more garlic than last year, so it will take several days to harvest them all. So as a way to experience the essence of the wholeness of both the spirit and flesh, everyone is invited to volunteer in the garlic harvest. If you'd like to come, please wear an appropriate work shoes or boots because it can be muddy, the farm. So it was just coincidence of timing. I didn't intend to announce this garlic harvest. But I thought it was a good idea to share this with you. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Reverend Jieun. It is always great to listen to her Dharma. Her Dharma teaching is so clear. And today, additionally, we get to learn about the early history of One Buddhism, including Levi Project, and very pragmatic information about garlic harvesting in our center. So if you really want to, experience what it feels like to be out in a field, please let Reverend Inshik know that you plan to come here. I'm serious about this. What's next? So did you get the message from her, by the way? Yeah, one of the founding spirit of Won Buddhism is to make harmonious life between spirituality and materialism. Yeah, life of spirituality and the life of materialism. Please open your booklet, page 6. Essential Dharmas of Daily Practice. Page 6. Catherine will guide us to this reading.
Essential Dharmas of Daily Practice. 1. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. 2. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. 3. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. 4. Let us replace disbelief, greed, laziness, and ignorance with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. 5. Let us turn resentment into gratitude. 6. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. 7. Let us turn reluctance to learn to willingness to learn well. 8. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. 9. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the good of all.
Next Sunday, July 30th, after the service, we'll have Sangha gathering with the theme of chanting and singing. So, anybody would like to learn more about chanting practice, you're welcome to join. No prior experience is required. Just stay and explore this chanting practice. So that's next Sunday. We'll gather in our main meditation hall. And a month from now, August 20th, we'll be hosting the Self-Transformation Day service, a day to celebrate the founding spirit of Won Buddhism. So there are several founding spirits. And this one is for no self and vow to serve all. Self-Transformation Day service. During the service, we'll welcome 6 people who will be receiving their first 10 precepts and embarking on their spiritual journey. So we have John back there who will be receiving his 10 precepts. Including John, there will be 6 people. And to extend this celebration, we have planned a potluck and an outdoor live music concert, August 20th. So you'll come at 10 and stay through all the way 1:30-ish. And you'll be enjoying this Dharma and music together. And for that note, we are in search of musicians who are willing to volunteer their talents. So if you are the one, please let me know. And if you know anybody who'd like to share their music, please let me know as well. Page 9. Let us end our gathering with morning prayer song, page 9. Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day in your presence. Today full of health and with peace of mind.
Buddha, Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace. I begin a new day with your grace. Today, gratefully and with gentle words, may I live in harmony with all those I meet. Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace. I begin a new day with compassion. Today, making the world a more loving place. May I do all that I can for one world.
Thank you very much for practicing with us today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.